I'd like to call the Blackstone Millville Regional School Committee meeting to order on Thursday, December 15th, 2016. Could you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Start off by introduction of members.
Joanne Watson, Blackstone.
Steve Tringali, Millville.
Sarah Larkin, Millville.
Wendy Greenstein, Blackstone.
Dave Thompson, Assistant Superintendent.
Jane Reggio, Millville.
And Jack Keefe, Student Representative.
Great. Report of the student representative.
So unfortunately, Brittany couldn't make it tonight, but that's all as well because there's not really a lot to report on the past 2 weeks. We have Pep Rally upcoming is next Friday, and that's going to be fun as it always is, and the seniors are going to win like they always do. Spirit Week is also next week, which starts with America Monday, and the Tuesday is Blast from the Past, so you can dress up as anything that's not between 2010 and 2016. Ugly Sweater Day Wednesday, so that's self-defining, where the ugly sweater you can find. That gets fun. Country versus Country Club on Thursday is a new one this year, which is going to be either you dress up like you're really preppy or you dress up like you're from out in the middle of nowhere. So that could get interesting too. And on Friday is Class Colors for Pep Rally, so that usually gets the most participation because everybody wants to look uniform in their section. Otherwise, we have the Chargers Stampede Fan Club, which started this year, I believe, this first year. And basically what they do there is they sign up to attend the basketball games for the boys and girls, and they go with themes for the games to dress up as and cheer sections, and it's probably crazy, but I don't know. And then basketball and track have both started. That's just about what we have for the past 2 weeks.
Is there a theme for the pep rally?
It is cities.
Cities.
Yeah, and the seniors picked New York, the juniors picked Boston, the sophomores picked LA, and the freshmen picked Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Great, thank you.
You guys have a good night.
Thanks, Jack. Start that car.
And we have our first public forum. And seeing as though there's nobody in the crowd, we can move right on. The approval of consent agenda A.
Move consent agenda A.
We have a motion for consent agenda A. Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion?
There's half field trips, but I didn't see any.
Yeah,
No, there are no
aren't.
field
There are no
trips.
field
No
trips.
field trip. So we're approving warrants and minutes of the meeting for December 1st, 2016. Okay, we have a motion on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstains? Okay, the ayes have it. Report of the Assistant Superintendent.
Yes, in your packet, you will see from NESDEC our enrollment projections going up through 2021. And we do see, as we've seen across the state, a decrease or predict a decrease in enrollment based on births and houses built in the area. And that's consistent with the trend we've seen over the last 10 years. The good news is that it does seem to, or is predicted to level out around 2019 on through 2026. But again, that is a projection. But our enrollment, we expect to fall from about 1,750 right now to a little bit above 1,500 in the next 15 years or so.
Any questions?
So has this already been submitted to them, or this is what we will
Yeah,
submit?
we had them come in,
Okay.
and what they do is they look through the town records. You can see, what the enrollment has been historically. You can see the projected enrollment. The third page gets into, or actually it's the fourth or fifth page. They actually look at the amount of births based, and then compare that to the kindergarten enrollment for that year. Going forward, you can see that they are pretty close. We don't see a big difference between the amount of births and the amount of enrollment. So from that, they use those. The last page has got building permits for the last 4 or 5 years. And there's not a lot, maybe 10 building permits between the two towns for new houses, single-family homes.
Yep.
Not a tremendous amount of building going on, so those factors and the decrease in births is going to result in a decrease of enrollment.
I might be missing it, but is there a breakdown by town? Like, I mean, I know we're one district, but is there, does it show which towns have which growth, or?
The only break, no, they don't. They're put together as the only breakdown, the only breakout that I see in this report is actually the building permits, which is on the last page. You can see in 2005, there were 22 Bs or 22 Blackstone permits and 13 Millville. But last year, there were only 3 Blackstone single-family home building permits and 7 in Millville.
And you said this pretty much mirrors what the state is doing? We're
Yeah,
not-
there's
Not ahead or behind the curve, basically, similar.
Right, I mean, the problem, when you see, decreasing enrollment, right now, our state funding is based on how many students we have enrolled. And there's certain fixed costs that whether you have, 100 kids or 125 kids, you still need, a principal, a nurse. You can't have a fraction of a nurse or a fraction of a principal, so there's certain fixed costs that are involved with running a school district. But sometimes class sizes and the number of classrooms can change.
Great.
Any other questions? Okay, so then the last two things are not new, but we don't have a record of a vote on these two policies, which we definitely need to have codified here in the district. The first is the video audio taping policy, and this has been reviewed by our legal counsel to make sure that we're following protocols, but we definitely need to have that in place. And we did read it, I want to say in May, but for some reason, we don't have that we voted to accept it. The other one is a toileting policy, which gets into the procedures for bathroom use and bathroom supervision by staff and children who need to be toileted. And it's important that we have those procedures, that policy, in our policy manual as well.
I've been having lots of discussions about policy lately. As a matter of fact, I had my first meeting with the representative from MASC to review some of our policies. And one of the things that I learned is there is a big difference between policy and procedures, and that in our policy manual, we have a lot of items that really don't need to be there because they're procedures. And I would say that the toileting is one of those. That really doesn't need to be in our policy manual. There's no state guideline for that. There's no, perspective kind of thing. So it could be in all of the school manual, procedure books or handbooks or whatever. But I don't really feel like it needs to be a policy. The other one, I think, does exist and.
So do you want to make the toileting a toileting procedure instead of
Yes.
policy?
Yes, that would be my preference.
But the wording beyond that, you're happy with?
Yeah, fine.
So with policy, we have to either waive the readings for the 3 readings or see this for the next 3 meetings.
Well, one of the things that I've also learned is that this concept of 3 readings, although it's a policy of ours, is not there's no statute for it, there's nothing, and you can always just waive it.
Okay.
So,
So should we do these separately, since we're going to call one a policy and one a procedure?
please.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept the video, audio taping of team meetings policy.
Motion made by Jane, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Joanne?
Yep.
Discussion?
Do we need to make a motion to waive the 3 readings? Because that is our
Well,
policy?
we've read it before?
We've read it once
Second,
before.
so there'd be 2.
Yeah, because that's our policy now.
Do we need to do that first?
It won't be in a few months, but. Or I hope it won't be
Until
in a
our
few
policy
months.
changes.
All right, so I make a motion to waive the 3 readings and vote on this policy tonight.
Okay, so motion made by Jane to waive the readings and vote on the policy for the video and audio taping. Is there a second?
Sure. Why not?
Okay, second by
Share it.
Steve. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstain. The ayes have it. Okay, looking for a motion for the toileting procedure with the adjustment of making it a procedure, not a policy.
In which case, we don't have to have 3 readings.
Right. We have
Make
to-
a motion to approve that procedure?
Okay, motion made by Tara. Is there a second?
I'll second this one.
Second by Joanne. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? Okay.
All right, thank you very much. So that concludes the report of the, we have one more? Oh, thank you, I should have my glasses on. The other thing we have here is to ask for approval for a paraprofessional to be placed in our social emotional classroom here at the middle school. It is a significant need, and we suspect and plan that, you know, with the cost of that being divvied out now that we're 2/3 of the year, it would be fairly minimal, and that we would be able to absorb that in our current budget.
Is there a motion to approve that? Social emotional paraprofessional at the middle school.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Steve. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jane. Discussion.
So this is a new hire,
This is a new hire, yes.
and we have no one in there now?
We have, we've put a sub in there right now.
Okay.
So you haven't posted this position yet, obviously, because we haven't
Well, we-
approved it, but
Yeah, I mean, we have posted it just because it is a need, but if we don't fill it, we don't fill it.
And this is to help the new
Yes.
teacher in that room that we just created.
That room that we just created, that is a significant need. And, you know, not to go back in time, but we have the social emotional program at the high school, one at the middle school. The one at the high school was in the middle school. To save money, we moved it to the high school, so we have this gap. We now are encountering students that need that program. And if the program does not work out, if we do not build it well and make sure it is viable, the cost of outplacement, it will be 5 to 10 times more than doing what we're doing.
Is there anything else that's missing in this program that we
Yeah,
should be
social
concerned
worker.
with moving forward? Because I
Social
feel like
worker.
we're getting like a bit and we approve it, and then another bit and we approve it, and I'm
Yeah,
afraid
well-
we're gonna continue to do this, so I'm just wondering if we're getting this big picture of this program.
Yeah, and, you know, the problem is that you know, you start and things, people appear, pop up, needs appear, and it's one of the challenges with budgeting and staffing with special needs, is that you can have a student move in, which is essentially what happened in this case. You can have a student that has some sort of trauma, and there's a need all of a sudden. So sometimes you have some moving targets. We've been fairly lucky in that we've planned and have had programs in the district where that has not been the case. But when you have a gap like we had until this year, you often run into that. As far as planning for that, we do have a very competent school psychologist that is associated and, you know, in this school and with that program and working with that program. We now have a BCBA who is working with that person. You know, the teacher and the para should be the last piece, unless we get, for some strange reason, over 8, and we need to look at our staffing numbers
But
by
that-
regulation.
That's
But
just
that shouldn't-
that's just personnel. Is
Right.
there, like, what about other things that class, the needs of that class? Like the big picture of everything included in that class? Because I know we talked a lot about personnel, but there's other things, I'm assuming, that are budgetary that need to be in place for that class, which
since it's a new thing, I'm just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, but we have curriculum in the district. We had curriculum at the middle school before we moved that program to the high school, so that's, should be taken care of. I mean, and other supplies and things would be minor, because we do have things already in the district. You know, I can't pretend to know exactly, you know, how many pencils or fidget balls we have, but we do have enough in the district that if we need to move some around, we should be able to do that.
So right now, we have a program in the elementary school
Mhm.
for certain grades or for all grades?
But
I believe I believe it's a 2 through 4,
Okay. And so then, and now we have one in the middle school,
one in the middle school.
and then we have one in the high, so we're missing
Right.
kind of the 5th grade and 1st grade.
Right, but we don't,
Building isn't done.
right, we don't actually need, but, you know, if we add, I mean, but the answer to that might be simply adding, you know, one more staff member to that program, so.
But isn't it the BCBA is basically for the district?
Right.
Yeah, so it's not so much it's with this grade, but not that grade, because if a need popped up, say in 5th grade, obviously the BCBA would
Right.
lend their expertise and build a program there, and it's,
Right.
so it's
The only-
not,
the
it's
only
not
have
so
to
much
worry about is
segment
the-
grade by grade, it's.
Right, the only thing we have to worry about, you know, is the age span.
Yeah.
Cannot be more
Right.
than 4
Yeah.
years. We have enough cushion where that should not be an issue.
But this para is specifically for this room,
Middle
so
school.
they're not
Yep,
bouncing.
middle school.
This is the
Yeah.
only,
Yeah, for the para, but the BCBA technically,
Right, and when you have,
The district.
and when you have students, you know, and when you have students in this kind of program, having 2 adults to be able to
Yeah,
play,
that's critical.
Yep.
you know,
Yeah.
one plays this role, one play, you know, if it's not working with one, you have someone else to bounce off to, and that is an important piece, along with the counseling piece, and those pieces are there.
any other discussion? Okay, all those in favor of the, to approve a social emotional paraprofessional at the middle school, say aye.
aye?
Opposed? Abstain? The ayes have it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Second public forum, but there's nobody here yet. I'm sure they're coming. And we are at the end, school committee forum.
Well, as I indicated, I've been meeting with a representative from MASC about our policies, and we're doing sections at a time, and I don't know if it's the preference of the school committee to, you know, review a section of a time and make the changes that she and I think we need to make, or if you'd rather just kind of wait till we're all done, the whole policy book, and have maybe like a workshop and just kind of shoot them all at one time. And, you know, this is a lengthy process. You know, it's probably several year, well, we're paying them over 3 years, so you can guess that it's probably a several-year process. But, I mean, I think we just get bogged down in policies if we started bringing them every other week, so.
I agree. Thank you, Jane.
Don't have anything.
Kind of similar to Jane, I'm on the safety committee, I'm committee of 1 right now, and they have a new school resource officer, and Joe Nimzek, and I've been in contact with him, trying to set up some meetings, but he said he's going for training in early January. So after the holidays, we'll sit down together and we'll kind of put our heads together and,
Right.
you know, start from the beginning, but, you know, things are in the works, but moving slow.
And I held the first regional agreement committee meeting. Jane and I were there. We had 8 total members from, I think it was actually 4 and 4 from each town. It seemed to be a good conversation, so hopefully we'll have the next meeting. We'll post it for late January and maybe get some more people on board.
Okay. And I don't have anything. Our next upcoming meeting is January 12th, and the next one after that is January 26th. If you have anything to be added to the agenda, just let me know or Erin know. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Motion made by Jane, is there a second? Second by Tara, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Good night.
19 minutes.
Nicely done.